Welcome everyone to this week's How Do I, and we're going to play with stripes today. Now it can be simple stripes or it can be a little more complicated stripes, but I'm going to start with stripes for making bindings. My name is Gail and I do Sew Fun here at Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and you may have seen me in the stores or on the videos for doing those fun projects on Sew Fun. So here's just a little bit more in depth on what we did this month. So on the quilt right over here, I have a striped binding, and what I found was I needed a way to match up my stripes. So it went from one piece of binding, right? You need about 5 of them to go around this quilt, to go to the next one without being able to see where those connections are. So we're going to go to the little mat here, and when I'm putting those together, right, I don't want a connection that looks like this. That would just really draw the eye to that seam, and I don't want to highlight the seam. I want to highlight the stripes. So by placing my fabrics in the appropriate way, I'm going to have my stripe going the other way, right? I'm going to have all of these colors going the same way. And I'm going to take my first piece of fabric, and I have folded that down at a 45-degree angle, and I've pressed it. Then I've added a small strip of steam-a-seam. Now it can be light or regular steam-a-seam, and they actually make steam-a-seam in 1/4-inch strips, right? So you don't have to do any cutting. There's 2 rolls in this package, and they make 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. I use this quite often when I'm just trying to put 2 little things together, right? So I've got my steam-a-seam there. It's a paperback fusible web, so that's what you see right here. Then I'm going to remove that paper, and it leaves the glue. Get all that paper off of there. And I'm going to place that down on my stripes so that they match perfect, right? There we go. Seamless, right? Let me get that a little bit closer for me. There we go. And then I'm going to press it. All right, so I've got my iron, and that is going to base that in place for me. Now, I don't want to leave that to chance, right? I'm not going to rely on that glue to hold that for me permanently, but I've got those all lined up. Now all I have to do is flip this up and expose that crease. There's a crease right there where I had that pressed. And now I'm going to go to the sewing machine. I've got it set on just a straight stitch for sewing and quilting, and I'm going to stitch right along that crease, and that's going to set it permanently, and I don't have to rely on the glue. So I've got the stitch going right down the middle of that crease. And then I'm going to trim off my edges here. And I can even put that corner there. And I'm pressed perfect. I stitched a little crooked right there, but you know, it is camera. So what I'm going to end up with is something that looks like this. After I've trimmed it, everything's going to line up just perfect, and you can't see where the seams are. So you can make your quilt bindings. I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to add it to my quilt. I have a choice. I can either add it to the front or I can add it to the back. I tend to add those to the back, wrap to the front, and top stitch. But none of my connections are going to show. Now I've taken this one step further, and the same technique can actually be used for mitering your borders, right? Borders are a similar thing where you have trouble matching them up. So I've got the same stripe. I've just cut it in a little bit different direction. So I have my border, and then I have my second border where it's going to miter up in this corner. And again, I've folded one of these back at a 45-degree angle, and I've added my steam-a-seam. Then I'm going to take off the steam-a-seam, paper. And I'm going to place that exactly at that 45-degree angle that I want. Match up all my stripes. And press. Then I don't have to worry about pins. We're going to slide it over just a little bit. There we go. So that I know when I'm finished, it's going to be perfect. That steam-a-seam is going to give me that basting that I need. And my corner is going to come out perfect. Exactly the same way that my binding did. Now back here on the table, you can see a bowl. Same idea, much different stripe, but all of those are mitered in all of those corners. And it just really, really gives you a different look by lining up those striped fabrics. And it really is important that all of those are going to come out perfect. Otherwise, you kind of lose the effect in the details. So, well, thank you very much for joining me for the How Do I this week, and I hope to see you in the future. Come back next week for more information on a different technique. Thank you.